Hello Action Queens, my name is Dumi Mokokwe. I'll be interviewing queens who are taking action towards fulfilling their life purpose, believing that you will be encouraged and inspired on your personal journey. Welcome to part 2, where we continue chatting to Diso about her work ethic and how they position their business to thrive during a recession. Remember to subscribe to our channel. Thank you if you've already subscribed. Now click on the notification button so you can be notified when a new video is uploaded. So now, what are you doing in your current business? Because now there's the transferring of information. That's a section of where you're doing it through this presentation. What's your core business? And you did mention that it was just a direct or lateral move really from what you had been doing in your previous company. So that transition, how did that happen and what exactly do you do?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. So I offer consultancy services for listed companies. So mainly dealing with their boards of directors and their subcommittees. You know, we provide various corporate governance advisory services and statutory services. We conduct studies on director remuneration, executive director remuneration, which is a big corporate governance factor. So now you'll understand shareholders will be looking at what are directors earning, you know what I mean? And are they earning in accordance to their performance contract and so forth, and because they need to vote on their remuneration, right, at the end of the year at the annual general meeting. So we conduct those desktop analysis studies just to give a peer review of what the directors are earning in relation to the industry, in relation to their peers. And so we do that for the boards of directors. We facilitate board meetings and committee meetings as well, you know, and then we compile various other governance related reports. We compile annual reports for listed companies, and we also compile business plans for startups, you know, because I've worked with companies for a very long time, I started to understand how companies operate. So you find that there's a lot of young people that are wanting to start their companies and they don't even know where to start. So what we do is that we assist them with compiling business plans and the likes, you know. So in essence, we are a corporate governance advisory firm.
Okay, that's great, because now what I'm seeing is that you are at the bottom end, as in the entry level for somebody that doesn't know what shares are, and you're also at the top. And if you're already an entrepreneur and now you're about to list and operate your business at this level, this is how you go about it. So I recently listened to a podcast, because that's what we do now, where this lady was saying, everybody has an unfair advantage that other people do not have, right? Because there are those that have obvious talents, like when you can sing or you dance, or a mathematician or a scientist. So it's obvious to tell where you should be going. But some of us, our talents are what I would call hidden, right? But it's unfair advantage that you have over other people in the area that you are in. So what is that unique gift that you have that you are bringing to the table? It is unfair because maybe unfair is not the word, but somebody else can be you. But they don't have that advantage.
I think it's my mindset, really. I've got a very adaptable mindset, but I am also, I think about the future a lot, and I think about how I need to prepare for everything that I need to achieve. And preparation doesn't mean I'm preparing today and then that's it. Preparation means, how do I live my life every day? What goes through my mind as I wake up and throughout the day? You know, that's the kind of preparation that I'm talking about. How do I look after myself, you know? And how do I adopt all of the time in an ever-changing world? You know what I mean? How do I get into spaces that I can't get in? So to put it in a nutshell, I have positioned myself to have an unlimited mindset, right? To stretch far beyond what I've been taught, and to also unlearn and rebel against everything that I've been taught. Because a lot of things that we've been taught as growing up, you start realizing that it's not actually quite working for me. But how do you have the courage then to say, this is not working for me? I know this is what I was taught, but it's actually not working for me, and I need to adopt into a new world. How do you embrace all of those different perspectives, but such that you remain grounded and you keep going? And also patience, but with a mind of continuing to exert yourself, right? To stretch yourself far behind, and having a spirit of continuity. So things don't always work out. We get rejected all the time. We approach clients, they don't want our services. They don't actually want to take our calls and stuff. But how do I then go home and say, I'm going to call 10 more clients tomorrow? You know what I mean? And also, you can imagine technology has changed a lot of things. Right now, we're in COVID-19, we're starting to work differently. And you can actually see the world is working. There are people that are actually resisting it. People are still like, no, we want to do things the old way. You know what I mean? So for me, I want to position myself in such that I am congruent with the changing world. I am divinely intertwined on a timeless basis. You know what I mean? With the ever-changing world. So as the world is changing, I am changing with it. So for me, but it takes a mindset to know that, because a lot of us, we sit and we feel entitled. That's another thing. I don't feel entitled to anything. I earn everything. And that's a strong mindset to have, in my view, because what happens when you feel entitled is that you stay at home and you think the government is going to save you, Dumi is going to help me, somebody's going to buy this for me. But when you don't have the entitlement mindset, what you realize is that everything is on you. Every single thing is on you. And therefore, what you do is that you carry everything with you, because that's the only way you are going to ever be fulfilled. And that's the way you're going to have this so-called unfair advantage, is that whatever comes, you know that it comes into your hands. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It cannot go through other hands and I must wait somebody. And you don't wait for anybody to give you anything. That virtue, you give yourself an incredible amount of power and control over your own destiny, because you just go for it. You know? You don't wait for people to tell you, hey, opportunity. You go and you find those opportunities. Sometimes the opportunities are not conspicuously in your face, but you go and you uncover them. And that's the spirit I'm talking about, the spirit of continuity, being adaptable in an ever-changing world, and not being entitled. Because if I was entitled right now, I'd still be working at the JC hoping that they'll give me a big bonus, and I would probably be, protesting outside for a 3% increase, 5% increase, but I changed the narrative and I rebelled against the old system so that I can drive my own personal strategy going forward, because only I can do that and nobody else can do that for me, you know?
So as an entrepreneur, we tend to glamorize it as we've been speaking, or I've got my own, I set my own times. But now you're also responsible for your own bills and your own salary. You can't go outside your own office, for a salary increase. So how have you, like you said, you're a planner. So how have you cushioned yourself for uncertain times, and how has lockdown, if it has, impacted you and your journey and your vision as an entrepreneur?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question because it's actually quite important given where we are now. First of all, when I spoke about the whole preparation thing, I was actually having this conversation with my business partner that, the way we worked so hard last year and the year before in getting this business started, such that when COVID-19 started and the lockdown started being rolled out and all of that, we were literally positioned in a way that we are getting more work as opposed to losing work, like, with certain individuals, right? Because we always thought ahead, we always prepared. And the preparation wasn't necessarily that we did big things. It was just in our approach to things, our daily lives, you know what I mean? If a client calls me right now and they say, Diso, we need your services right now, can I take on that work? Can I take on that contract? So the answer with us is yes, we can, because we've been preparing every single day. You know what I mean? In fact, we're getting a lot more clients than we did previously, right? And also we positioned ourselves in an industry that is, I would say, we call it recession proof. Not to say that things can happen, but the reason we did that is because we kind of foresaw things changing in the economy. And we always speak about when things change, Will you be in a space where you don't get economically impacted, financially impacted? And we wanted to place ourselves in that kind of space. And I'm so glad we did that, because, you know, you don't want to operate from a crisis mode all of the time. So preparation allows you to be adaptable, one. Two, it allows you to always adopt as things are changing, but in a smoother kind of way. You know, so when COVID-19 happened, we were working. You know, the only thing that happened was that we were not going to the shops because they didn't allow us, you know. But in terms of work, we kept on preparing, and the preparation is ongoing, and you don't stop after you get a contract. You don't stop after you get certain work finished. You continue. Hence the spirit of continuity. You know, a lot of us, we think, oh my God, I've got this tender, or I've got this contract, you know, things are well and all of that. And then you stop. And what happens is that you sabotage yourself in the process. So for us, we know we in this for the long game. We are trying to create for, you know, that generational wealth that you were talking about. So how do you do that? It takes time, a very, very long time. But also we are passionate about our clients. We are passionate about the directors that we work with. We want them to look good. We want them to think about us and think, if I meet this problem, if I've got this problem, Diso can sort it out for me, just like that. So that's how we're positioning ourselves, being indispensable. There's a book that I'm reading currently. It's called Linchpin. It's written by Seth Godin. He talks about a linchpin being an indispensable person in the organization, in the community, and so forth. You know that one person you can't do without?
Yeah.
Because they just bring so much value, such that without them, things don't quite work out. So we are positioning ourselves to be linchpins, in essence, in the industry that we operate, to our clients as well. You know, yes, entrepreneurship is not glamorous. There's nothing glamorous about running your own business. It's work. If you don't work, you don't get paid. That's the bottom line, because you're the one generating the revenue. No work, no revenue. In the work environment, you're quite lucky in a sense of your boss does all of the work. All you have to do is to show up. They've given you a laptop, a phone, etc., etc. At the end of the month, you're getting paid your salary. Whether the business did very well or not, the boss typically bears the brunt of that. Whereas when you're running your own business, you are your own boss. If I don't deliver, I don't get paid. Simple as that. There's nothing glamorous about that. So you find yourself working weekends. I've worked every weekend since January. I worked throughout December. I worked on Christmas Day. I worked on New Year's Day, because without me doing that, there's no income coming in. So entrepreneurship is not glamorous at all. Perhaps one day when we are multi-millionaires, it will look glamorous. But currently, we are kind of like a startup.
Great stuff, Diso. It's been a very insightful chat. They've always said that you need to position yourself to be indispensable. But now, during lockdown, even people that thought were indispensable within organizations are finding themselves being dispensed of. Like, I'd love to keep you, but there is nothing. There's no money coming in. So let's say you are in an events industry where there's literally no event happening, you know? Yeah. So what or how would you motivate somebody that's in that space? And you've been talking about preparation, and I'm assuming that you have great financial acumen and suggestions to say, should we find ourselves in this position again years to come? What are the things that people can put in place financially to secure themselves, or at least try?
I'm so glad you're asking that question to me. We started saving money. So all of the money that we're getting, most of it, we actually said that in that business, whatever revenue we earn, it doesn't matter how much it is, a certain percentage, without a single doubt, will go into our investment account. And let me tell you, that came in very handy during the lockdown, you know, where we saw that. Can you imagine if we didn't save any of this money and we thought, oh my God, we got paid, let's go blow the money. You know what I mean? We paid our rents ahead, you know, which is something that we don't do often. We paid off our cars, you know, which is also something that we don't do often. And when the lockdown happened and all of that, we actually found that we are actually all right financially, because we planned financially ahead. We put up monies away. Even now, we've got monies away. We bought some shares even, you know what I mean? So that whatever happens, our business could be dispensed of, like you said. Things could happen where people don't need our services. So during the time that we are restructuring or regathering ourselves, then what? Do we have enough funds to sustain us? And if the answer is no, then it means you're not a linchpin, because the linchpin is always ahead. You know what I mean? And if you find that you're in an organization and they do get rid of you because you are not so bringing value, it also means you're not a linchpin, because a linchpin you don't get rid of a linchpin, because it's that kind of value where there is no way they can get rid of you. There is no way they can get rid of you. You know what I mean? You've got that level of skill set or insight that is just incredibly invaluable. And that's what we are working towards, being incredibly of service and being invaluable, such that when they think Rose Garden Consulting, they're like, those are our guys. We cannot afford to lose these guys, And I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably need to adopt that kind of mindset. How do I secure a contract where the people that I'm contracted to, when they think about me, they don't even dream about getting rid of my services. They don't even dream of finding my competitor, irrespective of what I'm charging. They're just like, this is our guy. I could be, for instance, we could have competitors and we are charging 50K for a service and the competitor is charging 10K, which is significantly less to us, but they're like, we are willing to continue paying the 50K. That's what the linchpin mentality is about.
That's amazing. And you are getting all this from continuously building yourself. That word again, continuation. So what materials and how important is it as an entrepreneur to keep on learning and also reading, choosing what you are reading?
Wow, Twims, I cannot even begin to tell you how incredible information is for an entrepreneur. First of all, being an entrepreneur is not just about, I've identified this product or service offering and I'm giving it. It's also about, if this doesn't work, what other information do I have to allow me to start something else that will create just as much value, and will I be able to think on my feet immediately? So what you want is to have information about your environment all of the time. What environment do I live in, or is my business operating within? You know what I mean? What do people need? What kind of service offerings are people after? Do you get what I mean? If you're a cell phone company, for instance, you make cell phones and all of that, you want to understand what do young people like in cell phones? We've seen this with the likes of Nokia and BlackBerry and the like. They were the biggest companies at the time, and they just slept for so long that other players came in the game, and now nobody really buys those phones anymore, is it? You know what I mean? So to be informed about your ever-changing environment is incredibly important, and you find that information anyway. I mean, you can go to Wikipedia, you can read about different investments, startups, and you can go to YouTube and find that information, So you need to read about your environment, the economy as a whole, and the world as a whole, international relations, you know what I mean? What is changing? What trends are changing internationally, and how do I position myself around those changing trends? Will my services still be required 5 years from now? You know what I mean? And because things change so rapidly, is that a year from now, what is trendy now will not be trendy next year, right? So how do you change to that new trend? How do you adopt to it? You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not even trends. It's just about you create the service that will always be required, but how do you keep on improving on it? You know what I mean? Personal development is about that. And there's tons of material on personal development. You know what I mean? How do I... something as simple as communication skills. How do I communicate with my clients? When clients call and they're looking for your service, are you like, or do you pick up the phone? Hi, how are you doing? How can I help you? We don't realize how important those little things are, because it's not about the giant leaps that we take. It's all the small steps that we take, the little things that we learn along the way. Are we presentable enough? When I go to meet a potential client, am I dressed for the part? And all of that information is there. So a lot of us, we just think, I'll just run this business. Tumi will support me because I'm Black. She's also Black. We understand each other. It doesn't work like that anymore. What works is, do you come to the party full on, or do you have come to the party? And your potential customers and clients and so forth, they're looking for somebody who is full on in, and they can see right through it, through how you communicate, how you engage, how you answer your phone. You know what I mean? Your work, your presentations. I mean, we go through our presentations like you cannot believe, because we want to make sure they're perfect, and that the people receiving them, even with regards to the directors that we deal with, the information that we present to them is such that when they receive it, they can have full trust in our service offering. So it's all the little steps that you take as you are growing. So personal growth is not about this massive thing. One day you wake up and you are this big person. It's about, do you wake up early enough? You want to be an entrepreneur and you're waking up at 11 o'clock and you still have to have breakfast, and the next thing your day is starting at 1 o'clock. At 1 o'clock, people are going home. Their day is over. You know what I mean? We are awake at 4 o'clock. We are waking out. You know what I mean? 6 o'clock, we start working. Literally, this is what we do every single day. It's not even a bluff, because it's a mindset. Are you willing to work throughout the night? Are you willing to work weekends? You know what I mean? It's developing the grit for that kind of thing. So personal development is all about that. It's about what you do on a day-to-day basis. And also, I find that this is quite unpopular, but it's about how you treat people as well on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? You are nice to people and you want them to buy your product. You are arrogant and you want people to continue buying services from you. You know what I mean? So you need to also learn the language of being good to people, because you are trying to deliver a service to them. And people can see when you are kind of like, buy my service because, I'm offering a service, right? So you also need to learn to be warm. And those are skills. You don't just wake up and you are this nice, awesome person. You learn. You learn through loving yourself, through embracing yourself, and through being passionate about people. You know what I mean? When you get to the cashiers, do you greet them nicely, or are you just like, pack my bags and let me go? Right? Those are your potential customers one day, and they remember you that, you are trying to sell us Tupperwares and all of that, and you were nasty to us. So it's people skills, which is quite important, because business is about people. You are not selling the products back to yourself. You are selling them to people, right? So you need to embrace all of those little skills. Those are an essential part of personal growth, being warm to people, being kind to people, being gentle to people, and also being willing to work for free. That's another thing that we don't do. Right? You're just in there for money, or are you really of service? I'll give you an example. One of our first clients we got, we were doing work for her, and there was a crisis. I drove all the way from home. I went to her office. I sat with her and I did the work when she was there, And at the end of the day, the crisis was done. She didn't have to pay me for petrol. She didn't have to pay me for my time there. Nothing like that. We said, it's fine. We just want to make sure that you're happy, right? And guess what? Through her, we were able to achieve other work as well. You know what I mean? Because of her referral that she gave us. So it's about all of that when you're serving people, money should be the last thing on your mind. And that's a big aspect of personal growth and personal development, that you are not growing because of money. You are growing because you want to be of service to yourself first and then to other people, So literature is very important in this regard.
Yes, we finally get to that point.
To cut a long story short,
there's this guy who wrote a book about what you need to have before you start entrepreneurship. Peter Ngozi. He mentioned one of the key things to start on your journey. One of the key things that you need to prepare as you start is your health. He spoke about drinking water, making sure that you exercise and all of that. And I did not expect this at all from an entrepreneurship book, because I thought, no, talk about saving money, talk about all of these things. Drinking water, where does that come in? But in the explanation, it is everything, because without this body, who can deliver what?
I absolutely agree. It actually goes to the similar point that I raised now, that, we think that we need to learn all this big jargon and all these big things and, be involved in like these massive contracts. And, now we've got this multi-billion rand tender. It's not even about that. It's about getting the basics right. First of all, Doom, if right now I'm sick because I haven't been looking after my health, the business cannot continue. Literally, I have to be in hospital the whole day. So there's nobody doing the work. Remember, we are not at a point where we are employing hundreds of people and I can be off sick and all of that. First of all, when you're an entrepreneur, you're not off sick. I really, really like that book because it's actually at the core of everybody's life is their health. When we are not in a healthy state, we either die or we are just continuously sick. And you cannot run a business efficiently if you're sick. For me personally, I cannot run this business if I'm not in a healthy state because the business relies on me and my business partner to keep going currently in its current state because it's our skills that we are delivering. And both me and him being not able to work because we are both sick, because we didn't look after our health, it cannot happen, So I'm glad you raised that. Actually, oh my goodness, I almost forgot about that. But health is really an important part. I mean, we drink 4 bottles of water a day. We work out twice a day. We eat healthy all of the time. There will be a chocolate bar here and there, But essentially, if you think about it, if you are sick in hospital, you cannot shoot action queens, right? If you're legitimately sick because, so I do like that book. And yes, it speaks to the point that I was speaking to, and I completely agree with that.
Wow, so this has been a power-packed session for me as well.
Yes.
Learning from you as an entrepreneur and seeing you take off is just amazing. And I'm hoping that a lot of people will glean and learn a lot from what you have shared. So I will put a description below in terms of your contact details and the presentation, a link to the presentations as well. So that we continue spreading the word. We must all build wealth and buy shares.
You can actually use my email address and then I just email them because we're in the process of loading them on our website. But you can put the link for our website because it's live and people can get to see what we do.
It's important to invest in your personal development. You can find the link to purchase the books we've mentioned on the description below.